Get ready for a gripping tale of one family's fight for justice, where a devoted father, armed with legal expertise, stands against a ruthless homeowners association president. You'll see 12-year-old Ava's essential wheelchair ramp branded an eyesore, a silent campaign of intimidation, a shocking act of destruction, and a life-altering accident. Watch as David Lindstrom transforms courtroom mastery into a shield for his daughter. So if you like stories like this, like and subscribe for more. The morning air carried a sharp chill and the earthy tang of maple leaves underfoot as David Lindstrom stepped onto his front porch, coffee in hand. Willow Creek Estates had promised serenity, wide sidewalks, uniform mailboxes, and friendly block parties. He and his wife Sarah pictured their daughter Ava flourishing here, free from city crowds and gawking stares. But the beauty felt tainted every time their neighbor, Eleanor Vance, marched past with her clipboard scanning for the slightest imperfection. To David, Eleanor's clipped nods felt loaded with contempt, directed at the ramp that Sarah had designed for their bright-eyed 12-year-old, who had used a wheelchair since childhood illness claimed her ability to walk. Ava was fearless at school, her laugh was quick, her determination boundless, but home should have been her sanctuary. Rolling up the incline that led to their front door, she needed only a gentle push. Instead, the ramp had become a battleground. Eleanor Vance, president of the Willow Creek Estates Homeowners Association, wielded her authority like a sword, issuing edicts on paint swatches, mailbox fonts, holiday lights. Even the exact millimeter grass blades could grow. When David submitted detailed city permits and ADA-compliant blueprints, the Architectural Review Committee, under Eleanor's thumb, sat silent for months. Crickets. Then a curt letter granting a 6-month special exemption, revocable at any moment, with no promise of renewal. From the moment Sarah had first mentioned planting low hedges or installing decorative rail planters to soften the ramp's lines, Eleanor dismissed her with a stiff flick of the hand. "We don't hide deviations here," she'd said, voice cool. "We correct them." Sarah, a landscape architect celebrated for melding function and beauty, found herself repeatedly rebuffed. Her elegant proposals, ivy-clad trellises, flowering shrubs, stained wood slats matching their home's trim, were met with bureaucratic stonewalling. Meanwhile, Eleanor made pointed comments during neighborhood gatherings, worried whispers that the ramp would drag down property values, lingering stares that stuck like needles in Ava's back. David watched his daughter lift her chin higher each time, masking hurt with brave defiance, and felt a protective fury coil in his gut. Their existence became an absurd juxtaposition. By day, David thrived in the marble halls of the state Supreme Court, advising Justice Albright on matters of constitutional import, guided by reason, precedent, and an unshakable sense of fairness. Yet here in Willow Creek, neither logic nor due process held sway. Eleanor's bylaws were gospel and her interpretation divine. Attempts to speak calmly, submitting permit packets, emailing polite follow-ups, offering to present at a committee meeting, were met with silence. The Lindstroms were trapped in procedural limbo, forced to watch their daughter negotiate each morning's curb cut as if scaling Everest, only to be blasted by their own HOA president's icy gaze. Then one crisp October Tuesday, with parents away before dawn, David bound for an early courtroom hearing, Sarah jetting to pitch a major corporate campus design, Eleanor seized her chance. Mr. Henderson, their retired neighbor, spotted her sensible sedan parked unobtrusively by the curb. He stepped out to water his prized petunias as a handyman unloaded a power saw. Eleanor marched up the walkway, clipboard in hand, and pointed to the upper beams of Ava's ramp. The whine of the saw cut through the tranquil street. Sparks flew as the blade lanced through solid oak. Sawdust floated down like confetti over the neat lawn. When Mr. Henderson rushed forward to protest, Eleanor turned on him. "HOA business, do not interfere." He froze, chastened, and retreated under her withering glare. By afternoon, Ava bounded off the school bus, chattering with her friend Maya about their science project. She wheeled toward home with practiced ease until the ramp she trusted vanished. The portion nearest the porch had been lopped off, leaving a deadly drop. Expecting a gentle incline, she plowed ahead, only to hurtle into thin air. Her chair overturned. She landed hard on concrete, a cry tearing from her throat. For a moment, the world seemed to yaw. Her small body curled into itself, shielding a wrist already swelling beneath scraped skin. Neighbors poured into view. Mr. Henderson and Mrs. Gable hopped their fences to help, but Eleanor intercepted them, arms spread wide. "Stay back," she ordered, voice brittle. "This is a personal matter." Desperation flared. "She's hurt," Mrs. Gable shrieked. "Let us assist." "Unauthorized structure," Eleanor countered, eyes cold. "Liability risk. Do not cross." David's sedan rolled to a stop just then. He spotted his daughter prone on the walkway, tears streaking her face, hand pressed to a malformed wrist. His chest constricted, adrenaline sharpened his mind. He vaulted over the low fence without hesitation, brushing past Eleanor's frantic protests about trespassing on HOA common ground. Dropping beside Ava, he spoke in low, soothing tones. "Daddy's here. Can you point where it hurts?" She trembled, whispered, "Wrist." He nodded, scanning for other injuries, then rose and turned to Mrs. Gable. "Call 911, tell them a 12-year-old fell 3 feet from a porch due to a removed accessibility ramp, possible fracture." Within minutes, sirens wove their way down the lane and paramedics loaded Ava onto a gurney. David climbed into the ambulance with her, gathering her hand in his. As her heart monitor beeped a steady rhythm, he retrieved his tablet. Between reassurance murmurs, "I've got you, sweetie, we'll fix this." His fingers danced across the screen. He drafted an emergency motion for a temporary restraining order against Eleanor Vance. Facts flew onto the document. The HOA's months-long silence, the curt variance letter, the deliberate destruction of medically essential equipment, Ava's fall and injury, Eleanor's obstruction of aid. He cited the ADA, state disability rights statutes, and potential criminal charges for willful endangerment. He encrypted the filing, appended a sworn affidavit from Mr. Henderson, and emailed it for immediate judge's review. At dawn, 2 uniformed deputies rapped on Eleanor's door. They served her the TRO. She must stay 500 feet from the Lindstroms and refrain from tampering with HOA records related to the incident. Next, they presented a search warrant for her home office, the de facto HOA headquarters, seizing board minutes, email archives, contractor invoices, and any notes on the ramp's removal. Eleanor, once so self-assured, paled as deputies packed boxes of documents into evidence. That evening, local news stations aired clear doorbell cam footage. Eleanor gesturing, the saw buzzing, chunks of ramp flying off in broad daylight. Public outrage ignited. Justice for Ava trended on social media. Calls and emails flooded the HOA office. Neighbors who once whispered, in hushed tones, now marched to board meetings demanding Eleanor's removal. The handyman, fearing prosecution for property damage and endangerment, gave a sworn statement confirming her explicit orders to demolish the ramp while the family was away. Sarah and David watched the storm from their living room, hearts pounding. They kept the courtroom proceedings off camera, but word spread fast. A state bar ethics probe opened, investigating whether Eleanor unlawfully practiced law by misrepresenting her authority. District attorneys prepared felony counts for malicious endangerment of a minor and destruction of essential property. The community that once trembled under her rule now united against her. At her bail hearing, the assistant district attorney displayed the footage, medical x-rays of Ava's fractured wrist, and testimony from neighbors. She recklessly ordered the destruction of a permanent medically necessary structure, the prosecutor declared. A child suffered serious harm as a direct result. Eleanor's attorney argued it was a misunderstanding of HOA bylaws, but the evidence was overwhelming. The judge denied bail, citing danger to the community and potential witness tampering. Shaking, Eleanor was led away in cuffs and an orange jumpsuit. Under pressure, the remaining HOA board suspended Eleanor and initiated her removal, issuing a public apology to the Lindstroms. They pledged comprehensive reforms, clear accessibility guidelines, annual training in disability law, and transparent review procedures. Willow Creek Estates began healing. Weeks later, a gleaming aluminum ramp rose at the Lindstrom home. City-licensed contractors installed it flawlessly. A small plaque read ADA compliant. Ava, her wrist now encased in a bright cast covered in her friend's doodles, wheeled up the gentle slope with a triumphant grin. Her parents stood side by side on the porch, Sarah's hand in David's, relief softening their features. The autumn sunlight filtered through gold and crimson leaves, and for the first time in months, home felt like a haven again. If you'd like more stories like this, please like and subscribe.